Charlie Kirk's assassination case has taken a shocking new turn that's shaking the entire country. What started as questions about his tragic death on September 10, 2025, has now exploded into a full-blown scandal involving massive financial irregularities inside Turning Point USA, TPUSA, aggressive legal threats to silence independent investigators, and disturbing new footage raising serious questions about Erika Kirk's closest companion, a woman insiders are calling the grifter-in-chief. It all began when small YouTube creators, especially Wolves in Finance, real name Zach Gregorio, started digging deep into TPUSA's books. Zach exposed what looked like millions of dollars being shuffled between shell companies, questionable transfers to P.O. box addresses in strip malls, ghost employees on IRS filings, and suspiciously high payments to entities like 110 LLC. He pointed out red flags in the Form 99 ODEs, missing employee counts, unreported related party transactions, and donations spiking dramatically in election years to certain affiliates, while the main organization seemed to stagnate. Then came the bombshell. TPUSA responded not with transparency, but with a cease and desist letter from South Bank Legal on behalf of multiple TPUSA entities. The letter accused Zach of defamation for asking questions and demanded he immediately retract statements, publicly correct them, and even get pre-approval from their lawyer before publishing anything else about TPUSA's finances. If he didn't comply, they threatened a lawsuit. The irony is impossible to ignore. Charlie Kirk built his entire career and Turning Point USA around encouraging young people to ask tough questions on college campuses. His famous slogan was, "Prove me wrong." He challenged professors, debated students, and proudly stood under tents with that exact phrase. Yet now, the organization he founded is sending legal threats to small creators for daring to ask questions about where donor money is actually going. Zach read the entire letter on his channel and broke it down point by point. He called it a blatant attempt to intimidate him into silence. Despite the letter claiming TPUSA entities are not looking for litigation and only want the truth and an accurate public record, Zach saw it for what it was. A clear warning. Shut up, or we'll sue you. He pointed out that cease and desist letters are almost always the first step toward a defamation lawsuit, designed to scare people with the threat of massive legal bills. The letter listed specific statements from Zach's videos, but in almost every case it paraphrased what he said rather than quoting him directly. For example, Zach had called Charlie's September 2, 2025 internal memo a DOGE-style audit. The letter insisted it was only a DOGE effort for efficiency, never using the word audit. TPUSA claimed they already do annual third-party audits, and this was just about being good stewards of donor funds. Zach called this nitpicky semantics. Everyone understood DOGE as Elon Musk's massive government cost-cutting initiative. Calling it an effort instead of an audit doesn't change the fact that Charlie was clearly signaling a deep financial review. More importantly, the letter inadvertently confirmed the memo's authenticity. For months, people had wondered if that memo was real. Now, TPUSA's own lawyers were admitting it existed. Charlie sent it just 8 days before his assassination. On the ghost employees issue, Zach noted that America's Turning Point, ATP, reported millions in salaries but listed 0 to 24 employees in some filings. The letter admitted there was an inadvertent error. They failed to report 80 employees in FY23 and 108 in FY24, and they were in the process of rectifying it. Zach laughed at this. So, I was right. There was something wrong with the filings. They just don't like the term ghost employees. The $650,000 transfer, Zach suggested it may have been funneled through entities to potentially evade campaign finance rules. The letter said it was a legitimate reimbursement for event expenses. Nothing nefarious. Zach countered that even if legal, the money still moved in a way that looked suspicious and donors deserved to know. TPA's donation explosion from $10.7 million in FY23 to $27.2 million in FY24. The letter blamed it on election year dynamics. Donors naturally give more to lobbying and political arms during elections. Zach called it a convenient excuse. He suggested it looked more like an internal power shift, possibly benefiting Tyler Bowyer, who runs several TPUSA affiliates. Payments to 110 LLC tied to Jake Hoffman. Zach had asked if these millions were bribes. The letter insisted they were for legitimate marketing and advertising services. Zach highlighted that 110 LLC operates out of a UPS PO box in a strip mall, hardly the address you'd expect for a major marketing firm receiving millions from a nonprofit. Tyler Bowyer listed as an independent contractor at ATP. The letter said his role fit contractor classification. Zach saw this as intentional, allowing higher pay without nonprofit salary restrictions. Shell companies. Zach called the multiple TPUSA entities shell-like because money seemed to shuffle between them. The letter denied it outright, saying each has legitimate roles visible in the 90s. Zach emphasized that most of these were opinions, not statements of fact. Defamation requires proving knowingly false statements or reckless disregard for truth. He argued he was reporting on public records and sharing fair opinions. If TPUSA sued, discovery would force their books open, exactly what they might want to avoid. Meanwhile, new footage and analysis have turned the spotlight on Erika Kirk and the woman constantly by her side, Stacy Sheridan. In every public appearance since Charlie's death, the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony, the memorial service, car rides, speeches, Stacy is glued to Erika's side. At the medal ceremony, Charlie's grieving parents stood alone, visibly devastated. Erika, however, was held by Stacy, who appeared to be wiping tears that weren't there. The same happened at the memorial. Stacy gave a quick gesture as if wiping a tear, but nothing was visible. Critics called it performative grief, worse than Erika's own handkerchief-wiping moments. Stacy's eulogy at the memorial raised eyebrows. She described meeting Charlie at a big donor event in West Palm Beach, exchanging cards, and initially thinking nothing of him. Charlie later pursued her aggressively to join TPUSA. She said his naive audaciousness won her over. Then came the line that stunned many. Technically, Charlie was my boss, but it really never felt that way. Far more than my boss, I felt like he was my little brother. Calling your boss your little brother, especially in a eulogy, felt disrespectful to some. It painted a picture of unusual closeness. Stacy Sheridan holds the title of Senior Director of Development at TPUSA with a salary around $180,000 per year. But that's only part of the story. Public records show she owns multiple LLCs, Cloverstone Ventures, Lion Rock Ventures, GSM Strategies, and others. These companies have received millions from TPUSA over the years for fundraising services. The pattern is clear. Stacy is paid a salary as an employee to bring in donors. Then, donations are routed through her personal LLCs, where she takes commissions, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions in total. This is classic triple dipping, salary plus commissions via her companies plus no proper disclosure. IRS rules require nonprofits to disclose related party transactions on a Schedule L and a Schedule G of Form 990. Multiple analyses show these were not reported. Way back, machine archives of TPUSA's website show Stacy's name and title were once prominent. Now she's been quietly removed. Her title has changed multiple times, Senior Advancement Director to Senior Director of Development, possibly to obscure her role. Insiders and researchers claim Stacy has siphoned millions through this web. One deep dive estimated over $4.6 million to her LLCs from 2019 to 2024 while she was an employee. If true, this raises serious questions about donor transparency and potential self-dealing. The timing is explosive. Charlie's September 2, 2025 memo announced the DOGE effort to root out waste, pork, and inefficiency. He wrote about money disappearing too quickly and the need to tighten up. Many interpreted this as Charlie planning a full financial review, an audit in all but name. Just 8 days later, he was assassinated at Utah Valley University. Was Charlie getting too close to uncovering something? Were Stacy's companies and the broader financial setup threatened by his push for accountability? Why is Stacy now Erika's constant companion, almost like a handler, during every public moment? The cease and desist letter has backfired spectacularly. Instead of silencing discussion, it's drawn even more attention to these issues. Conservative commentators, including Candace Owens, have called the legal move a terrible idea. Many see it as confirmation that TPUSA has something to hide. The FBI is investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination. Questions about security failures, drone footage discrepancies, and the overall timeline remain unanswered. But now, the financial angle adds another layer. If the audit Charlie wanted threatened powerful insiders, could that have played a role? Zach from Wolves and Finance isn't backing down. He condemned any threats or harassment toward TPUSA staff, including Tyler Bowyer, whose home address appeared in public 90s. He blacked it out in his videos. He reiterated that he has nothing to hide and welcomes a lawsuit if it means discovery. This case is no longer just about one tragic death. It's become a massive scandal involving potential fraud, power struggles, and attempts to silence critics. Charlie Kirk dedicated his life to fighting for truth and asking hard questions. Now, his organization is threatening people for doing the same. As the FBI continues its investigation, more eyes are on TPUSA's books. Will the financial records finally be opened? Will Stacy Sheridan's LLCs and commissions be fully examined? Will the questions about Charlie's memo and his death ever be answered? The truth is still unfolding. But one thing is clear. The harder TPUSA tries to silence the questions, the louder they become.